Hello everybody, this is the Lone Ranger, and I'm bringing you a video review on the Razer Naga Molten Special Edition Expert MMO Gaming Mouse. And you might say, well, why are you using an MMO mouse for a shooter? But that's just it. It works well with any type of genre you're going to play. It's quite easy to get used to, and it has a really comfortable fit. On the side of the mouse, it has a little side panel where you can rest your ring finger, and you can rest your pinky finger beside it, so you can move around really comfortably and really smoothly. It has a total of 17 buttons, including the scroll wheel. So basically what this means is you have 14 total buttons you can remap to anything you want on your keyboard, and then you have your right click and left click and scroll, so it's really convenient. On the side, there's a 1, 2, or there's a number pad from 1 to 12, and basically what that does is you have 1 to 9, or obviously your number key is 1 to 9, then 10 is 0, and then the last two are just blank. You can just do whatever you want with them. But using Razer Synapse, you can also change it so that 1 could be K or 2 could be 4. Any button you want, you can remap to this mouse. But then beside the left click, there's 2 buttons there that you can also remap to anything you want. Alright, let's talk performance. The Razer Naga has a DPI of anywhere from 100 to 5600 that you can choose. You can just choose anything in that area. I generally like to keep to an 1800 to 2000 DPI because it gives me the movement speed that I want and the precision that I need without going overboard. And if you don't know what DPI is dots per inch. And so basically what that means is if you have a 1000 DPI, for every 1 inch that you move your mouse on your table or mouse pad, that's 1,000 dots that your cursor will move across the screen. So if you have a high DPI, you'll move your cursor will move very fast based on like a small movement of your mouse. Whereas if you have a lower DPI, your cursor will move quite slowly, even if you move your mouse really fast, because it's not getting as many dots per inch as you normally would with a higher, or like with a medium or higher DPI. So what does this mean for gaming? Basically what this means is if you want the precision in your game so that you don't miss your target or don't go overboard, you want a lower DPI. But if you really want to have a quick reaction time, you want a high DPI. And with the Razer Naga, you can have anywhere in between, so you can just do whatever. And you might say, well, why does DPI matter if I can just change the sensitivity in my game? Well, it does matter because it can also work for other programs such as like a video maker or Photoshop or something like that, because you can set the sensitivity in that. So it's not really for gaming. It's more for practical use in everyday things that you do on your computer. But it helps for gaming because it assists that your in-game cursor with that extra precision and movement speed that you need. Alright, so let's go on to polling rate. Basically what polling rate is how often your mouse sends information to your computer. And this is anything like a right click all the way to a subtle movement of your mouse. Now, your average mouse will have a 125 hertz polling rate. And so what this means is every 8 milliseconds, your mouse will send information to your computer. But if you're a gamer, you want that 8 milliseconds to be as little as possible, say 4 milliseconds. And with the Razer Naga, you can do that because with Razer Synapse 2.0, which is a program used for many, many Razer products, you can change the polling rate from 125 hertz to 500 hertz or to 1000 hertz. So if you can do a lot with 125 hertz, imagine everything you can do with 1000 hertz of a polling rate. And that's basically what it is. So it'll use like more energy or more power onto your mouse, but your gameplay performance will rise because you have a much crisper and much more accurate movement or action. Like your actions will be quicker than the enemies or quicker than other players. So basically you'll win. And that's a gist of what the polling rate for this mouse is. Okay, so this is Torchlight 2 gameplay. And you might be thinking, well, you're obviously using a keyboard and mouse because there's not enough room on your mouse to actually use all the keys. But you're wrong. I am not using anything but a mouse in this gameplay. You see, with the 14 customizable buttons, you can use any key on your keyboard for each of the buttons. So 1 can be a K, a 2 can be 4, anything you want. And it has bumpers on the 5, 6, and 4, 5, and 6 buttons, the 10, 11, and 12 buttons. So basically what this means is If you're on 5 and you feel the little bumper on the 5, it's a trainer what it is. So it tells you, okay, so above you is 2, below you is 8, to your left is 4, to your right is 6. So you can really easily kind of adapt from that. So then you go down to 8 and you say, well, okay, there's no bumper on here. So obviously above me is 5, below me is 12. And it just goes on from there. You can adapt. Plus, Razer, since they're an awesome company, they send you trainers of squares, like they're little adhesives. There's a square or there's a circle. And basically what it is it's got a distinct feeling. So when you put it down or when you place them on your key, you know exactly that this is 2 because I placed my trainer on the 2. And you can do that with any button you want, and they give you advice on where to put the trainers. I personally don't use the trainers because I didn't want to waste them. I just wanted to keep them perfect because it's just such a nice box and such a nice mouse and everything. So I don't have any trainers on, and I can still do this all fine. So it's a really easy mouse to get used to, and it's pretty easy to reach them all, and it gives your thumb a workout. And I know that sounds kind of nerdy or stupid, but it's true. You kind of move your joints, you move everything around, it gets you all loose and ready for any game you're going to play. Alright, so let's go on to the pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. The first pro is the multiple key custom profiles that you can have on your mouse. Basically, if you don't know what this is with Razer Synapse 2.0, you have up to 8 slots that you can change the buttons on. So basically, you have your one button on your mouse. In one profile, that can be 1. On the next profile, that can be 2. On the next profile, that could be K. It doesn't matter. You can just choose whatever you want. And then so basically what you can do is name each profile and then change it. So if you want League of Legends and have it so that all your buttons or all your your QWER are conveniently on the mouse, you can set that. Then you can change one to say Torchlight and have all your buttons. And then what I do is my 11 button is the tab button so that I can open up my stats panels really easily. And so I can keep that and keep the League of Legends profile and easily switch between them with Razer Synapse. Now, let's go on to the next pro. 17 buttons. Your average mouse is 3 buttons if you include the scroll wheel. This mouse has 17 buttons that you can use, so you can just map anything you want onto these buttons. You have 14 keys on your keyboard that you can put on your mouse. Alright, so the next pro is the 100 to 5600 DPI. And basically what this means is if you want a low sensitivity on your mouse, you can have a low. If you want a high, you can have a high. If you want a medium, you can have a medium. Or anywhere in between. It's so precise that it's like you have unlimited amounts of customization just to the DPI itself. Now with the polling rate, that's the next pro. It has a really good polling rate separation because you can have 125, 500, or 1000. So 500 is in between, 1000 is really precise, and 125 is just like if you're not doing anything, you can set it down so you use less power or energy onto your mouse, and you know that helps the builds or whatever. Now macros is the next pro. You see, with Razer Synapse, you can record a macro macro command onto your mouse so that you will you can record a combo basically. So you want QWER on your for League of Legends, you can record the macro so that Q is first, and then maybe a few milliseconds later you'll have your W, then a few milliseconds later then your E, then a few milliseconds later then your R. So it's basically you press one button after you've set this, and then you just move your cursor around and it does the work for you. The next pro is trainers, like I already said, and they're just a really convenient way for someone who's new to the mouse, who doesn't really know what they're doing, to kind of get a grasp or get used to what's happening on their mouse or what the buttons are on the side. Cool LEDs. Now this is pretty corny, but the LEDs on this mouse are so cool, along with the design of the Razer logo on the back, because it's just something nice to look at. You know, you want something nice to look at while you're playing as well. Now, it's fairly durable, and I can say this with proof because I accidentally dropped my mouse the other day. It fell on the ground of a laminate flooring pretty hard, and it fell from a meter high. So it took a meter high just fall down. It got tugged down, so it had some force on it too. And it still works perfectly fine, and there isn't a scratch on it. And now the next pro is it's quite comfortable. It has because it has the curved sides, it's just really nice to move with, and the right and left click buttons are curved downward. They have a concave curve, I believe. So what this means is it morphs to your finger. Your finger fits with it, and it feels perfectly natural while you're playing. All right, Now we're going on to the cons, and basically there is not very many cons. One of the cons though is that it rarely, very rarely, will become unresponsive for about 2 to 3 seconds. So if you're in a fight and this happens, it's not a fun thing to deal with. But it's so rare that it doesn't usually matter. Synapse is another con because even though there's great things you can do with it, it can get really, really annoying. And basically what this is, like, you'll open it up, but you have to minimize another program or browser or whatever you're using. You have to minimize that in order for it to actually appear. So that kind of gets annoying. I don't know if that is just my computer or what, but that's just what it does to me. Now, because this is the Razer Naga Molten, one of the cons to it is that it doesn't have the removable sides that the regular Naga doesn't. And basically, like, the Razer Naga, if you don't know what it does, is it has 3 sides that you can change on your mouse, so that if one side isn't comfortable, you can change it so that another side's comfortable, and they have different curves on them. That does not come with the Razer Naga Molten. So if you want that comfortability or customization, then I wouldn't recommend the Naga Molten, but the Naga. Now, the buttons on the side, they're really good, but they're kind of small, so you can end up like mashing the buttons by accident, and then you could screw up everything you're doing. But that is quite little, so it doesn't usually matter. And you know what? That's all the cons for the mouse. Alright, so here's the conclusion of my review for the Razer Naga Molten MMO Expert Gaming Mouse. I give it an 8.5 out of 10 because although it's really comfortable and it looks really good, and it's just a really good mouse overall, the minor setbacks of it rarely becoming unresponsive kind of set it back. So I'd give it an 8.5 to 9 out of 10, but I definitely recommend it. Unless you want the customizable sides, I'd get the Razer Naga regular edition instead, or the Razer Naga Epic edition, which is about $50 more or something. So it's a good price at $80, but you'll have your minor problems, but you'll also have really good times with it, and it's just a great mouse. So yeah, overall, I would give this mouse a 8.5 to 9 out of 10 because, it's really good and has its ups and downs, and that's why I didn't get a 10 out of 10. But, it gets the job done, and that's something that's awesome in any gaming mouse. I hope you enjoyed my Razer Naga review, and as always, have a great day.